Rob from On-Stage Lighting. Welcome to another of our AutoCAD for Theatre tutorials. Today we're just going to look at adding a hatch to your drawing, so creating shading using various types of hatching as if you were doing a normal hand-drawn plan. So we're back at AutoCAD now. What I've got on the screen is a rectangle, and what I want to do is add a hatch to it. It's quite simple in AutoCAD, but hatches are kind of slightly odd things. So what we'll do is we'll have a go at adding one and see how we get on. First thing we want to do is we want to create the hatch. Now you can use the hatch command, which is over in the toolbar on the left hand side, or you can just start to type HAT and it will give you hatch. And then basically it tells you to pick an internal point. What it means is pick somewhere inside the thing you want to hatch. Before you do that, you can also go to the top of the screen and you can choose your hatch type. You can look through all the different types of here. There's some fancy ones. You can also have custom ones as things as well. So we'll just pick straight sort of diagonal hatch. And then so once we've picked that up, what we can do is basically just click in the middle of the rectangle. And you see what's happened here is that the hatch is very, very small in this rectangle. It's very, very dense. We don't really want that at this particular moment. So what we can do is we can actually change the hatch scale. And while this hatch editor is open, the easiest thing to do is to change it up here. So if we change it from 1 to 10, you can see the hatch scale is different there. So when we've finished, we just click enter and we've done with our hatch. Now if I just select the hatch again, you can see that it's selected outside of the rectangle. So I can delete it. Or I can move the rectangle itself but they're kind of joined. They're not exactly this. They're sort of joined, but they're not joined. So you can kind of, as I say, you can select the hatch itself. This particular hatch is what's called associative, which means if we change the size of the rectangle, it would also change the size of the hatch as well. So that's all cool. So let's just bring that away a minute. I'm going to do something else now to hatch something else up. So this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a slightly more complex shape using union. If you remember from previous tutorials, what we had to do that is we needed to make a region first out of the two shapes, and then we had to make a union out of it. And so basically what that did was it joined the shapes together to make this kind of shape here. Now if I click on this shape here, you'll see that this shape is still a region. And so basically the thing that I want to do next is I want to use offset on this particular region here. So I'm going to try and do that. So let me try to do offset, and then it says specify an offset distance. Well, in this case I'm just going to draw one, and then it says select the object to offset. This is where it goes slightly wrong for us because we can't seem to offset this thing to make this complex shape into kind of like a thick wall using offset. So what the reason for that is that offset doesn't work on regions, and so what we need to do is we need to make sure that it's not a region but is a polyline or something else. So if I just come out of that offset command for a minute, what I need to do is to turn this into a polyline so that instead of saying region over here in the properties inspector, it says polyline. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use explode, which is basically going to break the object down into different elements. You can see there I've got explode, and I'm going to select the object now, and you can see I've got individual parts here. Yeah. What I need them to be is I need them to be all joined back together again. So the quickest way to do that, select all the lines, do a join. Now you'll see now this polyline has polyline and not region in the properties inspector. So now with any luck we should now be able to do our offset. So if we do our offset, so typing in OFF, specify the distance. Distance is just going to be that for this example, and we'll do it outside. So that's our two shapes there, our offset. The reason I wanted to show you this is because now I want to show you how hatch works with this offset. So I'm going to go to my hatch command. This time I went on the menu rather than typing hatch, and I picked the gaps between the walls, so it started to hatch up. Let's just make that a little bit smaller. So you can see I've got the hatch on the two walls, but the thing to remember is that these particular two shapes are not joined together, and so actually the hatch is just filling the gaps between them. You'll notice this particularly if I do a move. You'll see that I can just move the inside shape a touch, and you can see that what it's done is it's sort of changed the hatch to fill the gaps. So the hatch is kind of spreading out like water in between the two shapes. If I delete the top shape, you can see what's happened there is it's basically left the hatch as it was, but the shape has gone. So the water now hasn't spread. So the thing with hatch is it's kind of slightly odd, and it has some weird properties to it. It's quite useful, but when you get a bit more confident with AutoCAD, you'll kind of work out all the different things you can do with it. But those are the two ways really. So you can fill in an object, you can fill in between objects, and just as an aside, you can't use offset on a region. Hope that's been useful. I'll see you soon.